Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank our witnesses for joining us today. Secretary Hegseth, Chairman Caine, Mrs. McDonald, thank you. Thank you for the incredible job that you all are doing. Secretary Hegseth, I want to begin with you and talk about all the efforts that went into the defense portion of the One Big Beautiful Bill and making sure that we're getting all the pieces of this correct. Lots of back and forth, and we know that there's a long-term need to make sure that we get this right. And we want to make sure, too, as we look at priorities from all the different bodies, that we are assuring that those are continued on as the process takes place. We know there's going to be additional investments in things like shipbuilding and ground vehicles. And we've also made substantial investments in modernization, including things like Golden Dome, things that are critical to this nation's future. I just wanted to get from you, can you assure the committee that of the $150 billion that's here, that it is going to be laid out and spent in exact alignment with what the committee has laid out, really on a line-by-line basis?
Well, sir, you will have, and I can refer to Bryn on that for the details, but you will have a complete reckoning, and many of it the committee already does have, of what we intend to spend and where. But from our viewpoint, it's two bills, one budget.
Right.
And ultimately, we've worked with the committee and will continue to ensure that every priority is funded either through the base bill or through reconciliation. But I defer to Bryn.
Yeah, no, just concur with the Secretary. We've worked very well with Chairman Rogers' staff and with Senator Wicker's staff on it as well, and we'll continue to do so now that the data of the budget is released.
That's great. Listen, I think it's key, especially since there are a lot of different moving parts here, to make sure that we're all in alignment with that. Yesterday, Admiral Kilby confirmed that the U.S. Navy still needs a sixth-generation fighter, that FAXX is still critically important. And earlier this year in our Tactical Air and Land Subcommittee, we received a lot of testimony about the continued requirement need for FAXX, the Navy's unique need to have that fighter that is able to function in a highly contested environment, having the ability to deal with even more ability for our adversaries to sense that aircraft. We know that in the FY25 CR, there was $453.8 billion, put $1 million put towards that. I'll get the number right. And in reconciliation, $500 million. So you can see Congress is consistently pushing ahead and saying this is where we need to go. And we'd be a little surprised if the support for this fell off, especially since we're looking at the requirements and not seeing any change there. So, General Caine, I wanted to get from you, do you still see the requirements for FAXX being the same today as it's been developed through the recent months by the Navy to project and say this is what the Navy needs in order to have that ability to provide a tactical air presence in places like the South China Sea and elsewhere where that environment is going to be highly contested?
Congressman, thanks for the question. And, you know, as we look at the threat picture out in the Pacific, the requirements themselves, I think, are still valid. I think it comes down to a question that many of the folks on the committee have talked about, and that's the ability to produce at a particular time. And I'll defer to my civilian leaders on the timing and synchronization of that program. But we do need, you know, capability that is mobile, whether it's FAXX or others, that enable us to win on the battlefields of the future. I'll defer to the Secretary and Bryn for policy-related stuff on the synchronization.
Well, Secretary, I'll ask in addition to that, I think to build on Chairman Caine's comments, has the Pentagon's plans changed? Because, you know, since April, and especially in our subcommittee, you know, we've looked very, very specifically about this need, looking at NGAD, which the President's made a decision on, but then looking at the Navy's need. Can you tell us, are things continued on track for FAXX? Are there any changes there?
Well, sir, as you know, certainly we have adjusted the way we see the world from the Biden administration through interim national defense strategy and planning guidance.
Sure.
That's what went into the decision that we made on F-47 or NGAD, and this budget has a significant investment in that. FY26 funds the complete design of FAXX. We're certainly reviewing it, working with the Joint Staff, working with the COCOMs at its application in around the globe. So it's in the mix. But we recognize we also need a capability as quickly as possible for the threats that we face.